Um, just being on an esports team and wanting to get better.
Sure. What team are you with?
It's my collegiate team.
Nice. How long you been with the team?
Just this past uh months, so
Cool.
not long.
Cool. What got you to join the team in the first place?
I like Overwatch, and I wanted to be more competitive and get better.
Sure. Makes sense.
And
How long have you been playing? Sorry to interrupt
um,
there.
you're good. I think since well, I've been playing since season
Approximately.
4. I don't know what that year is.
Okay. Yeah. Season 4 of Overwatch 1 or Overwatch 2?
2.
It's
Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2. Okay, so not too long for a while. What got you into the game initially?
One of my friends was playing it on Xbox, and so I started playing it on Xbox, and I had fun.
Makes sense. Cool stuff.
And now I'm on PC.
Cool stuff. Okay. Okay, good. Was the PC transition you taking the game more seriously, or was you taking the game more seriously put you in a position for the collegiate team? Like which came first here?
It was switching to PC for me to take it seriously,
Sure.
and then team came after.
Perfect. Cool stuff. At the time of the form, you were diamond-ish. Is that still somewhat the case?
Yeah, Diamond 1, and now I'm Diamond 2, so
Okay.
I went down.
That's all right. It happens. Like
Yep.
fluctuations are very normal. Ana Kiriko Juno, is that the role that you play on your team as well, or does that change?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's always support for me.
Sure. Okay. Long-term goal is to go pro, or at least have the skill required to do so. Short-term goal is to reach masters and feel like you belong in masters, so no imposter syndrome. Okay, sounds good. Now, why that metric? Is that just because that was the next step up from when you filled out the form, just like one more step on the ladder, or is there a specific reason why masters for you? Because obviously long-term goal is pro, short-term is masters, so it kind of makes sense, but why exactly masters? Why exactly pro? Talk me through why those are your goals.
So the reason that my short term is a Go Masters is, like you said, it's just the next step up. But I mean, I'd if I wanted to actually put down a better short term, it would be to like just build habits that just help me consistently improve.
Okay, sure.
Um,
What kind of habits come to mind? I mean, obviously you don't know for sure, which is why you're here, but I'm curious.
like yeah, just like setting up a routine more or less, because I'm very inconsistent right now. So
Why?
um, since the season ended for our team, I've just been a bit less consistent because we used to scrim on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we'd have a game on Tuesday
That's really
and
good.
voting on Sunday.
Wow, that's a
Um,
lot. What rank is your team approximately?
we're average diamond, like
That's
high
great.
diamond team.
That's great. That's a lot of practice per week. That must have been a lot of fun.
It was a lot.
Okay.
It is.
Okay. Was that kind of like a motivating factor for you to become pro? But you said you took a game seriously and then the collegiate team, but uh was the pro kind of like, oh wow, I really like this kind of structure. I want more of this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Makes sense. Okay. On Kiriko Juno, you play that for the team, long-term goal pro. You feel like I want to improve my fundamentals, get past any mental block for myself when I focus on my rank. So
Yeah.
that seems like that's a problem for you. Now, I like what you said when you said you want to set some short-term goals of improving your schedule, your structure, and so on, because I'm obsessed with that stuff. I think it's super underrated. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit.
All
But
right.
when we talk about mental blocks here, you even say it later on. You feel like mentality for sure is holding you back.
Uh-huh. So essentially, whenever I get to a new peak or whatever, I suddenly just, wow, like, I'm totally done. I hit that peak. I mean, I
Ah,
should try to go for my next goal, but this feels good. I'm gonna sit here for a bit,
yes,
and
yes.
then my skills just deteriorate from there.
So now you've recognized the problem with goals,
Hmm.
because goals
But
by definition to end, right? So this is why when we talk about the power of habits and system, which you clearly already seem to be aware of, that's why goals are bad. It's because they do by definition end. So you need to
I
be a
didn't
process
actually think
focused.
about that.
Right. Like it doesn't matter. See, the thing is when we always look at our goals, we think, okay, goals aren't the problem. I just haven't aimed high enough. But when you become a goal focused person, you focus more on checking the box than the process of actually checking itself, right? And improving itself. And the problem is that there's always another box to check. Let me give you an example. Within the Overwatch community, you are masters. Then there will be Grandmaster. Then there will be GM1, which is a huge accomplishment. Then there'll be top 200, top 100, top 50, top 20, top 10, reaching peak 1, consistently keep competing for top 1, competing in the equivalent of competing for OWCS, right? Winning OWCS, and then doing so for, I mean, let's put it this way. If you're going to be in the GOAT conversation up there with like Violet and so on, you're going to need to be consistently like performing at that level for 4 or 5, 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying, right? There's always another box to check, and people don't even agree on who's the greatest of all time, right? Like there's still disagreement about that. So even Violet, I guess, let himself down, because if Violet really wanted to achieve his goal, there would be no conversation about, oh yeah, Lip is probably a little bit better. You know, Violet's failed, right? So there's always another box to check. So you have to focus on the process itself, and am I pleased with the concept of consistent improvement, and I don't know, there's something about just the process of learning is so satisfying, right? And improvement is so satisfying, and I think you shouldn't feel ashamed for enjoying the goal itself, right? I think that's part of the extrinsic reward, but there has to be something intrinsic as well. The process itself has to be fun, right? Because if you think about it, winners and losers have the same goals. Right? Everyone wants to get to Masters. Every hard-stuck gold player I've ever coached always wanted to get to Masters. You're not special. So what's going to make you unique in that aspect? And also, are you going to be unhappy if you don't get Masters? That's the other problem about a goal, right?
For you.
So let's go back and focus on the system a little bit before we look at your mentality maybe a little bit closer. What are some systems that you feel like you have been able to implement in the past or even right now that have worked well? Maybe from comparing where you were with season 4, you just started playing Overwatch. What has improved? Not just about your gameplay, but about how you approach the game as a whole.
Like, probably one of the biggest things is just warming up. Since whenever I get on, I just can't hit my shots, and then I play whatever Vaxstar or Seda for a couple.
Okay.
And
That's
then
a good one.
I can actually hit shots, but after that, I mean, while we were scrimming for our games, I mean, just having that everyday schedule and communication of, oh, I know this happened because of that. It's just felt nice, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, like you enjoyed that process so much that it influenced your goals. Right? What you really enjoyed wasn't necessarily going pro, but you like scrimming a lot. You know, I get that. That's 100% the case, you know? Okay. A scrimmage consistent playtime structure, a warm-up structure. How about how you approach the game in game? Do you have like any positional philosophy? Do you have any mechanical philosophy? I mean, you play relatively brain-full supports, so there has to be some sort of strategy about how you use your anti-nade or Suzu, or how you position, or how you aim, or how you think, or how you use your ultimate. What are some systems with, I don't know, any of the characters that you play?
Well, specifically because Ana is my most played in ranked right now. Like, I try to be as far as I can from like, let me restart. I try to just be in a position where I can keep good pressure, get away if I need to, and just heal my team.
Do you feel that with that sort of mentality, I could drop you into a brand new map, like one of these stadium maps that people have been playtesting, right? And you would be able to find a decent position immediately?
Yes.
So you have a system
just
with your positioning.
If I can, there's preferably a corner, and
sure.
I mean, high ground is nice.
Yeah.
so I can
Yeah.
drop.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's the difference between you and a plat player, right, or a goal player, right? Is those systems that are not only consistent but maybe nuanced, right? Like that you talked about the ability to disengage, the ability to apply pressure. Like these are complicated systems, but you've practiced applying them. Okay. What about something different than Ana? Do you have a system with Kiriko or Juno? How you play, how you position, how you use your cooldowns, how you use your ultimates?
So with Kiri specifically, I like to try to go on little expeditions if there's not a whole lot going on.
Sure.
And if I can get like a double headshot, that feels nice, and I TP out, or I mean, my team might go in off of that,
Sure.
but
Okay. So
sometimes,
offensive expeditions and then TPing out as necessary. Okay.
but I mean, sometimes that just doesn't work, and I feel like I'm not doing much.
So sometimes you're saying the system doesn't work or it doesn't feel like it feels off. Something's off.
Yeah,
Okay. And we need to find out what that is.
yeah,
So we need to continue to iterate on the system and improve it. Now, we can take that analogy and apply it to how you practice and how you play and how you study and how you live your life, how you exercise and how you sleep too, right? Because I had a really interesting question a couple weeks ago in stream about whether you should train Overwatch on a day where you were really stressed and didn't sleep well. Should you just skip that day? And so we had to have a discussion about like how your system might change on a day-to-day basis, depending on how you feel or how you play or external factors, right? So in the same way that you would change how you practice outside of the game, depending on factors, you might also change how you position in game, right? Depending on those external factors. You talked about Kiriko. Sometimes that system doesn't work. Well, why? Now, maybe you can't think of anything off the top of your head. I'm not expecting you to. But that would, if you were like, let's say, trying to improve your Kiriko, you need to answer that question if you want to improve your Kiriko.
Mm-hmm.
You need to answer why that's not working and what you need to be doing differently or what you need to be doing better. So that's really all of life and Overwatch and improving at anything is evaluating the machine that you have created for yourself and making it something that you enjoy doing, crucially. Sometimes we try to drive a sports car, but it really is not fun to drive. You know, we like the idea of being this type of person, but we don't actually enjoy being that type of person. And that's kind of something that you have to evaluate, right? So like you like the idea of being a professional player, but from where you're at right now, at the time of the form, your play time is not even close to that, and you were aware of it. You said 7 to 8, currently trying to get that number up to 20. My goodness gracious, that is a lot more than what you're currently doing.
I know.
Right? But why? Why were you trying to upgrade your system that heavily?
Because I felt like if I can get myself into a position where I am consistently just going at it, I will improve faster.
Is your lack of improvement of the number of hours that you're playing a consequence of, laziness? Or is
Yes.
it, I don't enjoy, well, you were very quick to jump on that one. Everyone is. It's funny how that works.
So I've been playing a bit of Minecraft and Roblox Mining Simulator instead of Overwatch.
Do you like those games more than Overwatch? Do you like that balance?
No.
You don't? So then why do you play them?
Sometimes I just get angry at Overwatch and need a break.
So Overwatch becomes negative, and you're implying right now that it shouldn't be that way.
You're right.
Okay, so the bad news is that it's going to be always a little bit frustrating. Now, I'm not. Here's the thing that I'm saying. I'm not discouraging you from trying to better yourself, and honestly, maybe using the lazy adjective, which I'd like to avoid, but I do think that sometimes, okay, yeah, you can better yourself. You can, and quote unquote, improve your mental toughness. And honestly, like if you're playing Minecraft and you're like, I don't even actually think I like this better than Overwatch. It just feels easier. Okay, that's a pretty good self-evaluation. Okay, so then how do we make Overwatch easier for you? Well, then we need to avoid whatever negative nastiness that comes out of it. We need to at least avoid the peaks of nastiness, right? Or make it more manageable. So you tell me. Again, this is a system approach. When those things happen, what causes them? Do you have any recent memories of something like that happening? And if so, what happened?
Yes, I do know actually, and it's always because maybe I just feel like something on my team isn't going well, and then I'll think, why can't I just do better? And then I get angry that I can't do better because maybe I'm just missing shots, or I realized after I died I was in a horrible position, and then I just think on those for like the rest of the match, and I don't know.
So
It feels weird.
is that a natural consequence, or do you think that's a dysfunctional thought process?
I don't know.
It's probably a little bit of both, right? Frustration's normal. Taking responsibility and getting frustrated at things is also normal, but that's probably not optimal, right? For Overwatch or
Right.
not Overwatch, no? So what we have here is we have a little microcosm of something that you could probably improve and find positive repercussions outside of Overwatch. See, this is the catch, right? And this is why I get so obsessive about this stuff is if you recognize this, you take approaches to mitigate, deal with this, and mature yourself through this. This is beyond video games, right? This is an opportunity for you to better yourself. You need to take that opportunity. And so when you go back to that example that recently occurred, I want you to start with preventative measures. Was there anything that you could have done to avoid putting yourself in that bad mental state or put yourself in a better position to deal with that bad mental state?
Probably.
Okay. Give me some solutions. I know you're not equipped for this, but this is why we're here. What do you think? Give me some ideas.
I mean,
Take your time.
that's just like, I don't know.
Okay.
Genuinely, I can't think of anything.
Before the game, were you in a good position? Do you think that you were in a good training mindset before the game even started?
No.
Why not?
I had just gotten out of class.
Ah, okay. So is that a frustration with class or just a busy brain, fatigue?
Busy brain.
Okay. So what's the solution then? What needs to change about your approach to Overwatch and your approach to classes?
Maybe just try to space them out further from each other.
Okay. Be specific. That's
Like-
that's right, but like be specific. How would that implementation look?
Since my classes would end at some time, just wait an hour or two to cool down from it and just get into, like, start thinking about Overwatch in that time
Okay. So you're
before just
saying
playing it.
you're playing immediately right now, correct? After classes. And
Yeah.
you're saying wait a couple of hours instead?
Yeah.
Do you think that's asking a little too much of yourself?
It could be, but honestly, I don't know.
Okay. Write that down. Take break between classes and Overwatch. Not sure how long. Not sure what I would do. Write it down. Or type it up or whatever you want to do. And let me know when you're done.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. That's a preventative measure, and it's very observant of you to notice that. That's good. Now, it's too late. Preventative measures have failed, or you forgot to implement them. Unlucky. These are habits that you're going to have to build. Okay? Same thing as brushing your teeth. Now, you're in game, you're tilted, you're frustrated. Let's go back to that moment, exactly when and where it happened. Were there any measures that you could have done in the moment, not to fix the problem, but to prevent the damage? Or at least to, okay, the fire is broken out, but we'll extinguish one of the flames, or we'll call the fire department. What could you have done? Was there anything you could have done?
Yeah. Just think about the next fight and don't dwell on what just happened.
Okay. Why?
Because if I'm just thinking about, oh, I did this wrong, or, oh, my tank was over here when I wanted him over here, that's really not just going to help me with the next fight.
Okay.
What can help me is just being prepared. Because
Okay.
actually, that could probably help me with ult tracking. I didn't even think about that. Sorry, I got off topic. But
No, that's not off topic at all. Continue.
I mean, just thinking, oh, what can I take from that last fight into this one?
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. You see, it's really opportunity cost is the problem of Tilt. It's not just the mental state that it puts you in. It's not just the fact that it makes you not want to play the game. It's also the fact that you probably should be thinking about something else, but you're not because something else is in the front of your brain. So it's not just saying don't do this. It's also, okay, let's try this instead. And it's going to especially stick if it's something that you know that you want to do better at, which is ult tracking. I mean, I could tell you what to do, but it sounds like you already have a good idea of it. So let's try that instead. Write that down.
All right.
Ready?
1 sec.
Sure.
All right.
So these are going to be some adjustments that you're going to need to make. And what do you think your success rate at implementing or trying or experimenting with some of these changes is going to be first time around?
Probably 20%.
Right? and that's asking a lot, right? But it's not because you're not capable of that. It's just that to implement these things takes decisive thought and action and also memory, right? And those are all finite resources. It takes willpower. That's a finite resource. So failure is to be expected as part of the progress, but you are a person that is capable of that. You are someone who is able to take breaks. You are someone who's able to reflect and ult track effectively. So now let's go act like that person would act until it is easier, automatic, and habitual. And that will take time.
Right.
All right.
That's true, because I also have a problem where I'll just be asleep at the wheel, just autopiloting around the map.
Yep. It's funny because when we went back to our early systems, would you have described yourself as a bronze, silver, gold player, whatever, back in season 4? Would you have described yourself as somebody that is as thoughtful and systematic about Ana positioning? Probably not,
No.
Right? And the same thing goes for your Kiriko pressure cycle. That wasn't you. You didn't know how to do that, and that wasn't your playstyle. So you adopted something, and it is now yours. And you probably do a great deal of it without thinking. It's just simply who you are as a support player. But It wasn't always the case. So that was a lot of trial and error and a lot of effort to get to that point. But now it's just simply a part of your being. And I bet if you think back to when you first started playing Overwatch and to how you play now, you probably think less now than you did when you first started. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's just who you are, right? Whereas at the beginning, you're trying to find out what the heck was going on, especially in a game like Overwatch. Okay, so these are some small things. This isn't night and day. This isn't a magic potion that's going to take to fix the problem, but you should probably look at how quickly you play Overwatch, how much you play Overwatch after studying for a long time. And then you should try to develop systems that help mitigate dealing with it in the first place. One thing that I've always recommended a great deal is if when you are seriously training, you should probably get up and walk around for 60 seconds between every single queue. Now, support queues can take a long time, so you might make that 2 or 3 minutes, but you might as well get up from your PC every time you queue the game. The benefits of that are not obvious, but usually most good things aren't. But it allows you to decompress, to think about the game, walk away from the screen, and then come back in with a little bit more energy for the next one. Make sense?
Yeah.
I recommend that a lot. Goals to go pro. Short-term goal to reach masters. The system goals that we're establishing is to help your relationship with the game feel a little bit more natural so that you don't avoid playing it because it's so negative. And I want you, ironically here, to develop the habit, or I guess coincidentally, of a habit of when you don't want to play Overwatch or don't feel motivated to play Overwatch, to not force yourself to play, but instead to ask yourself why and address those issues. Is it not rewarding enough? Is it too difficult? Is it too painful? Is it too inconvenient? Are there other things that are more appealing? And to approach it from that standpoint. Does that make sense? And if you do all of those things and you still just don't really feel like playing Overwatch, well, then you need to evaluate your goals. Because if a game is truly everything that it needs to be for it to be successful, and it is not, then the problem doesn't lie with you. It lies with the game. The game just isn't for you. And that's okay. I wanted to be a scientist when I was a kid, right? My life could have changed differently. My opportunities could have been different, but ultimately I just didn't really choose to pursue that path. And that was kind of my call, right? So the same thing with you. Maybe you want to go pro. Let's see what happens. Maybe it's not for you. Doesn't mean you're not capable of it. Just might mean that you don't want to. Any questions so far?
I don't think so.
Okay. I feel like fundamentals, like matching tempo of my team, rotations. I'm also not really sure exactly what's holding me back, so maybe you'd find something that I cannot. Sure. Evaluating that maybe a couple months afterwards, what do you think? Shortcomings here, things that are holding you back, or maybe even some things that you're doing well too.
I don't know. Like things I'm doing well. I mean, I can pretty effectively play around the map depending on enemy comp and my comp. I feel like
How did you develop that skill?
just trial and error, getting dove
Okay.
on by a Genji in the front line.
Okay. Love to see it. What else?
Um, Something I know I'm pretty bad at. I mean, I'm just gonna use Ana for most of these because I
Course.
play her the most. Um, a lot of the time I'll waste my nade, and it just gets easily baited out of me. So I'll see a tank or a squishy walking up. I'll throw my nade at them. They don't blow up. They walk backwards, and then I'm down my nade.
Sure. Sure. So what's the problem here? What's the habit? Is there a habit?
The habit is pretty much I go for a nade if I can. I don't ever save it for a better opportunity.
So what needs to change with how you approach nade?
I need to be more observant. Just if I know an enemy really wants to go in, I should be trying to have my nade for that
Sure.
instead of if my enemy is thinking about going in or not.
And how will you develop that skill of knowing? And it goes right back to what you said literally one sentence before. You need to be more observant pre-fight.
Yeah.
What's going on? How can I use my nade? And don't just be observant for the sake of being observant. You're not admiring the view here. You're looking for nades. And you're going, okay, I've made my decision.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that needs to be done quickly. And as you get better, you'll learn to skip steps. Like, for example, if you're running a composition without any flankers, then the observation will take moments because everything will have to be on your screen immediately. But as things start to develop and diversify with when and where they're fighting, yeah, you might have to take a little bit extra second to think about it. That's okay. It's part of the process. Right?
Right.
There was something else in your form. Let me pull it up here. I had closed it down, but I forgot what I was going to ask you here. And it had to do with burnout. Is that exclusively what we've already spoken about in terms of
Yeah.
Overwatch being unattractive? Okay.
I only really felt it because, I went on a loss streak before I applied for the coaching.
About
So-
30% of my students usually do.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not feeling burnt out right now. I feel like I have a good way to avoid burning out.
Sure. That's the key thing. Avoid the burnout. Don't deal with it. I used to know so many semi-pro players, keyword on semi, where they would hard grind the game, burn out, then play Valorant for like a month, and come back and rinse and repeat, post another LFT like every 6 months. They retire, then unretire. Typical thing. It's just immaturity, and that's something that you'd have to develop. Now, last question I have for you is: I see an Excel or a Google sheet here. Is this how
Oh,
you
yeah.
normally track things?
Yeah.
Okay. How so? When did that start? And what value does that bring to you?
It started after the college season,
Okay.
and it helps me just think about the match a little more. Like I can go through it and say, "Oh, I remember that happening on labs on Antarctic, and oh, that just didn't feel right. I should think about my positioning next time."
So it's like
And
a very
usually-
abbreviated form of feedback almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
So the sorry,
Fine.
the notes are on the very left. You can probably see it.
Yep, I see it.
It lets me just know how I'm feeling about the match. If I'm going back on the VOD, I can look at it real quick and say, "Oh yeah, this changed, and I feel better about it."
Sure. Works for me. As long as it's an efficient use of your time and you enjoy doing it, you find value to doing it, I'm a big fan. Any questions here before we start?
no questions.
Okay. Let's keep going here. Which code would you like to start with? We could do both. We'll probably have to expedite the process, or we could
Yeah.
do one and go nice and slow. Your choice.
1 is fine, 2 is fine. I don't mind whichever
Okay,
happens.
We'll play it by ear then.
We'll do. I'll say Midtown.
Midtown FFP 4QK. FFP 4QK.
And
Okay.
you can see the dates on that, and that's 4 days after. I've just been busy with some school stuff, so.
It's fine. Won't need to sweat it too much. In-game name?
Prune.
Prune. Okay. Is this all Anna?
No, I don't think so.
Do you want feedback on all the characters being played?
Yeah,
Okay, so a lot
because
of
they're all
Anna.
my rotation.
Got it. A
Okay,
lot
it
of
might
Anna.
only be Anna.
A lot of Anna.
Yeah, I
That's
think
okay.
it's actually
It's
just
fine.
Anna.
I guess the reason I'm asking is not because it's a problem, because I don't know if you want all Anna then.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds good.
and I will just say that I kind of fell asleep at the wheel, so
Right. So we need to. Maybe that's the last little note here. Why do you fall asleep at the wheel? Is it through playtime duration? Is it lack of taking breaks? Is it sleep? Is it
this
stress?
this is the match I had right after my class.
Ah, okay. Okay. Might also be a
And-
lack of specific goals as well. Do you have any
Yeah,
specific goals with Anna, or have you recently?
I have not thought about it.
Okay, that's probably not helping either. We've got two
Probably
things that
not.
we need to work on. Having a goal in game, right? Having a habit in game that we're trying to implement. I mean, you could even use our whole goal habit terminology with in game stuff too. Like, is our goal to hit every nade? No, but we want to be observant prior to nading. That sounds like a much better way of reflecting that skill to develop, right? But regardless
Yeah.
of whether you say goal or habit, doesn't matter. We need a purpose of what we're doing in game and why we're playing this game. We're not playing this game to win. We're playing this game for a purpose of drilling the specific skill. This is how this game works, okay? And then, obviously, like you said, how, when, where we're practicing as well. Okay, let's take a look. Any questions with Anna?
Specifically on this map, if you have a better positioning alternative to where I am whenever I'm in a fight, that'd be nice to know because I don't play a lot of Midtown, to be honest.
Okay, okay.
It doesn't show up a lot for me, and
That's
I
fine.
don't
That's
think
fine.
about it.
What are you looking for with your positioning system-wise? We talked about this already.
Yeah, mostly just being in a good way to pressure and nade out
Okay.
of dive range, specifically of their diva right now.
Sure, sure. Are you checking that box right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Is there another option available to you? I know that's why
Yes,
you asked, but
in the
where
top.
else?
In the building with the mega top right of where we are.
When is this better?
If-
When is this worse?
It's better if I see her down main. It's worse if she decides to go the right lane.
Okay. So why aren't you starting here?
That's an amazing question. I have no reason not to. I think
Okay.
I thought
I
to
think
myself,
I think there's another reason where this wouldn't work. Finish your thought though.
just with the Sigma, none of my team wouldn't, except the Genji, would be able to peel if I got jumped on.
You're not. We should never be reliant off of peel. Your
Yeah.
position alone should be, well, that's an exaggeration, but yes, you should basically be reliant off of your own range, cover, and self-defense as necessary to be able to keep yourself alive. And with this distance and with this cover, you should always have that threat. If Diva rotates onto your right, then rotate away.
Yeah.
You have legs, even if you are a grandmother, right? So
Right.
the only exception to this rule would be what character could contest this sightline and make it really bad really quickly.
Widow.
Widow. Food for thought. So your positioning is usually a sightline or an angle, but sometimes that sightline can compress. Now the nice thing is that Widowmaker is very inflexible. You are more flexible than she is. You prefer to play a sightline, but you can get your hands dirty sometimes too. And that's what makes Ana skillful. I look at this composition and I see no reason not to abuse your range. There's nothing here that can contest you from a distance. So let's take the longest, juiciest angle sightline here. And even this angle here is probably not the most value you could squeeze out. without rotating for 7 years, where could you go right now to significantly increase the amount of pressure you're putting out right now?
To the other side of the fire truck.
To the other side of the fire truck. You might as well. There's no downside. So what skill needs to be challenged or changed here with how you position? Your system is good, but it's not iterated enough. What needs to change?
Thinking.
About
I guess,
what?
I don't know.
Be specific. Because we're thinking that's vague. That you will not be able to implement and change anything with that. We need specific.
Could you say the
areas.
question in another way?
Sure. What about your positioning strategy wasn't good enough such that you positioned here without thinking about trying this here? Why was this an option, or this was an option in the first place? What do we like about these positions? Start with that.
Sightlines.
Sightlines, right?
Because they don't have the
Right.
pressure to just poke.
So
as
we can look
much.
at this two ways. One, you need to think enemy composition, factoring that into the position that you take, right? Not every detail, okay? Right? But are there any crazy outliers? The divas, the widows, the sombras, and so on, okay? And number two, probably a sense of experimentation. Have you ever tried this position before?
No.
Why not? It's pretty close, right?
Always-
But it's a nice cover, nice angle. If they don't have diva, I don't think they could do anything. No?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of see what I'm saying?
I've never
That's
never taken that angle because I feel like I wouldn't be quick enough to rotate out.
right. There's an obviously compromise of I don't know if I can rotate out, but maybe sometimes the position is so good you don't need rotations.
Right. So risk
know.
and reward.
Risk and reward. The goal, though, is number one, to factor enemy composition, and number two, to experiment more and to fail. Because it's funny, because when I asked you what changed about your Kiriko system and how did you figure this out, you said a lot of trial and error, and yet you've calcified.
Yeah.
Right. You need to adapt constantly. I don't care if you're top 500 or bronze. Everything is constantly a certain amount of focusing on the execution of what I'm doing and doing it better, and a certain amount, 5, 10, 15% of innovation. No top competitor of anything avoids innovation. Because if you do,
Right.
you become a dynasty that falls. You always have to innovate. And so what that means for you is it means these little moments of, what if I did this instead? What if I tried this? Why is this good? Why is this bad? Now, there's still parts of your system that you know are true. Like, for example, cover's probably always valuable, and a little bit of range whenever possible is always valuable. And playing on your cooldowns is always valuable. But, like, let's innovate a little bit. Let's try a little bit. Zenyatta, for example. A lot of the top 500 Zenyatta mains in Overwatch 2 were very flank heavy. I would not have predicted that to be the case in Overwatch 2. I would have said that you can get contested on angles and killed, but what Zenyatta players got really good at doing is doing something called dynamic positioning, where they would listen to threats, fill the angle that was not contested, and use their silence. And they'd win a lot of games that way. That was innovation, right? And that's kind of what needs to be done here. We're not talking about like reinvent how to play Ana, but just think, what if I tried this? What if I tried that? Factor that with enemy composition, and we're cooking. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emergency treatment incoming. The enemy is approaching.
I mean, I see the vision in the nade, but ultimately, probably not necessary.
Right.
What do you think about your current iteration, rotation, whatever?
I think it's not the greatest because only really the Diva and I think the Kiri had passed, so everyone else still had to walk next to me.
Uh-huh. So if you're going to deal with the people that are going to walk next to you, how would you do it optimally?
Go into the train
Go
or
into the
drop
train.
backwards.
Or drop backwards. Okay. You did neither. That was your mistake. I
Yeah.
love this. Anti-nade, sleep dart, full HP. You're a menace. They will not be able to walk out of the choke without immediate and painful death. I like this. Completely avoiding all sorts of confrontation, but still maintaining a sight line for pressure on choke without risking your life. Again, it's a question of risk versus reward, but you're following simple rules. You have cover, you have an angle. This one, you don't really have cover. And that's why it feels bad. It's not a question or a scale of aggression. It's simply you just didn't have cover. And that's really it. And that's why this feels so bad. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why you didn't have cover could be a longer conversation, right? You could ask yourself, was it panic? Was it a lack of preparation? Was it a lack of experimentation? Or was it a lack of discipline? I don't know. Do you know?
Lack of discipline, probably.
Okay.
I wasn't
Right.
respecting.
Right. Which it might be something that kind of goes back into the amount of energy that you had going into this game.
Mm-hmm.
Creativity at the start and discipline as the fight goes along. And by discipline, we don't mean like some sort of psychological toughness. It just means that you haven't practiced staying true to your fundamentals mid-fight. And that needs to be practiced more. Like even right now, I think you're a little bit concerned about proximity, but there still needs to be an idea. If I get pressured, where am I going? Am I going top left? Am I dropping? Because if I stay here, this is no man's land. I mean, even your rotation to here, as opposed to where you were earlier, seems like a deliberate decision. Which honestly, hey, means something's thinking, right? You're at least engaged. Good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, Nano. It's gonna be that. Should be a fight win here. Little rush in the sleep dart. Obviously, that's not like a really good reflection of your mechanical capabilities. Good, Nano. I like you pushing the angle. Nice job. I also think a slightly underrated Ana skin as well, especially with the Cosmic weapon. It's a good look. Cosmic Mythic with Shrike. Shrike, right? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, it is. It's the best combo. There's no competition.
I see. I will not contest you on that.
This is me walking into walls.
It makes sense that there should be something there. I mean, I'm going to ask you a question. Why? I want to be clear. I actually kind of like this, but I'm curious, like, what's prompted this?
I saw my Genji here. I wanted to help him because I saw 2 people rotating over there. And I just wanted to be there. And then I walk into another wall.
So what's the rule with when you're holding an aggressive angle? Do you have any rules? Do you have a system for this when you flank?
Be able to get out safely.
How?
I usually keep one of my cooldowns.
Did you follow that rule?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got them both forced and then pushed out.
Was that the right? Was that the? Do you think that rule is good enough? Can you improve that rule? Like what? Like let's look at this from like a subjective standpoint here. Hindsight. What would have kept you alive here?
Not being here, just rotating back towards probably the fire truck quicker.
Okay, so well, the reason you rotated was because of Ashnod, no? So that's not correct. You probably would have died to Ashnod or would have struggled. So what would have kept you alive here? If you don't know the answer, it's okay. What if you had sleep dart here?
That's a good point.
Right. So why did you not have sleep dart here?
I saw her boosting, and even though she wouldn't have been able to make it to me, I still slept her.
Right. Was it a bad sleep dart? No. It just wasn't the optimal sleep dart. So let's reevaluate your rule. When you take an aggressive position, what should you probably do?
Keep my sleep dart a bit longer. Like,
be
I was
really
full
thoughtful.
Health, I still had.
Yeah. Sleep dart or nade need to be used really, truly to keep yourself alive, and preferably sleep dart. Why?
Because that gets rid of all of their pressure immediately, as long as nobody wakes them up.
True. It's still a skill shot, but let's be honest. The real reason why we want to keep anti-nade available when we flank is because it's a chonker, right? It's a lot of damage, right? So sometimes it's better to throw the nade, hit 2-3 people, die, and try to hit the sleep dart than the other way around, right? That's kind of the reason. So what's funny is that is a system that I have when I play Ana. Is generally when I take a very aggressive angle, I'll let myself use my anti-nade aggressively, but I'm really careful before I use my sleep dart. Really careful. And that applies to every tank, not just dive tanks. Because let's face it, what if Orion pens me? I'm screwed if I don't have sleep dart.
Right.
I'm screwed. So you are creating space for your team by doing this. You missed Mega, which kind of sucks. But like,
Yeah.
like you like let's be honest. Like with the way that you played that out, you're going to die either way. But I don't think that you should look back at that and be ashamed. I mean, look at the opportunity that you created for yourself. You forced 2 ultimates. You've put them in a really bad position. And your death was at least expensive, right? So this wasn't terrible. Just could have been executed better.
Right. Okay.
Was that the right play or was it the wrong play? I don't know. So you get to choose whether I should have gone for a different angle or a different play entirely, or if my execution could have been better. Your choice. Your choice. We focused on execution because I love flanks, but you could also have looked at that and been like, okay, they had a lot of mobility there. That if I'm going to do that flank, where should I do that flank from instead? You tell me. So let's not critique the how, but let's critique the when and where.
If I was gonna take this flank, just being upstairs would have been probably safer.
Probably a little bit
Better.
safer. Probably a
Because
little bit
it's
safer.
easier to hit the nade from up there anyways.
It is. It is. So it's also just how you did the play itself. Okay, good stuff. Oh, by the way, one other thing that should educate how you use plays like that. We talked about it earlier. Ult track. Ult track. They got a lot of ults. You got nothing. High risk, high reward makes a lot more sense. What do you think about where you're positioned right now?
I think it's okay.
That was the choice.
I agree.
Good. Do you see your cooldowns? And this is one of those moments where we're not really talking about experimentation, but would there ever be a world where you peak this angle with cooldowns here? What would that world be?
I have done that actually. It's just
When?
I was hopefully when the Echo and the Diva are distracted by something else.
Sure. Or maybe they're not even on Echo and Diva, right? Do you understand? These are kind of the variables here. But yeah, this is something that you could absolutely do.
Apologies.
Probably not the wisest move with the situation of the battlefield here, and I think you made the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, again, a choice. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're looking for That's okay. We're looking for creativity in pre-fight situations. We're looking for you to utilize the enemy composition to educate when and where you should hold angles. And then once we're on that angle, we're looking at what should I do? Should I use my nade aggressively? Should I use my sleep defensively? Having a strategic idea, right? Always evaluating what about my system can improve. Do you like your position right now?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Diva can't just walk to me because of the Zarya threat.
And
the Genji.
Well, it's not so much about the Zarya and Genji threat. It's just your distance between her and you.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the objective one, right? You don't have to rely off of your teammates for that one. For Diva to close the distance would just be misery.
It's true.
And there we go. It's not flashy. Doesn't need to be. It was smart. Let's keep going.
Affirmative.
Nano perk. Position is fine. We've already established it. Same reasons why it was fine before. Nade is a bit rushed, but we do hit it. Why are you saving your sleep dart?
I don't know. That's a good point.
See, a plat player would watch this and be like, "What do you mean save a sleep dart? You've been talking about using this or holding this." Now, hang on, what's changed? The last two
There's
fights,
no threat for me.
there's no threat. Why is there no threat? We talked about it last fight.
The distance.
The distance, right? So it is not an aggressive angle, and by aggressive we mean close. So there's no reason to save your sleep dart because there's nothing that will get close to you. So you must use your sleep dart. If you were going for a flank and hitting backline, you wouldn't need to worry about saving a sleep or sleeping the Diva, excuse me, because the Diva would come to you, right? Right? So that's the problem. When you take a more conservative angle, you have more responsibility to put out pressure, ironically, because your presence isn't a threat by and of itself. And so now you're Zarya dies, and that's your fault.
Yeah.
Right? Now, would that sleep dart have changed everything? I don't know. Probably not, but I'm making a point, and I think you know that.
Right.
Because it would have made things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Just HP mismanagement. Didn't realize you were that
Yeah.
low. It happens. I think the Bastion hit you with one of the little grenades there. Nice shots.
I think so.
أنا ما حدش يقدر علي. Healing you.
It's just me
Unlucky.
standing.
Unlucky in two ways, and I'm gonna say unlucky because I'm gonna cut you some slack. Because number one, this diva hasn't matrixed anything this entire game, so this is a bit of a shock for me. And the second thing is he just got two tapped. You thought that you were on cover, but you were not. That's not a huge error, and this is where you can get very annoyed at yourself. But honestly, is this any worse than anything that we've seen so far from you? No, it just got punished randomly. That's how life goes.
It's funny you say that because I was not happy with that death.
Of course you weren't, because it's stupid. I'm more upset at deaths where I didn't have a plan, right? That's the deaths that you needed when I had no idea what I was doing. It just, stuff happened. If you take some sort of action, like you were very clearly planning to look for an angle there, and you're very clearly trying to punish the diva, that's okay. Just work at the execution. Like that right there, if that diva, that nade gets eaten, that's okay. But you could clearly tell that you were tracking Matrix and aiming it to the side, you know? So if it fails, it was still a good idea.
My ultimate
In the same way that we focus on processes and not habits, we focus on intentions, not outcomes. They
Right.
always say that, like, oh, what do they say? The road, what do they say? Something, the road to something, road to failure, road to hell is paved with good intentions or whatever. And that's one of the stupidest phrases that's ever in our vernacular ever. It makes no sense whatsoever. Good intentions are everything because it's what leads to good outcomes. So when you have a good idea and you do good preparation, you put work into it, then it's good. Whether it works or not, well, maybe you need to reevaluate it. This is where I think that this kind of goes to what you're talking about anti-nade a little bit here, where evaluate this situation right now and tell me why anti-nade is bad. I'm going to cheat the system for you and tell you it's bad. Why is it bad?
The diva specifically can just walk around the two corners and be completely safe. There's
Is
not
there-
too much pressure because
Right,
our Zarya would blow up.
And this is even delving deeper into the micro, right? 600 HP with armor. It just doesn't, it inconveniences her, and it is useful. It's just not 14-second useful, okay? I freaking hate the cooldown on this thing now, right? Like, it's just not worth it. So do you think in the next 2 or 3 seconds you'll have a better vision, better sightline, better target? Or even, honestly, just it's still the diva, but she's in a worse position for it.
Yeah, I could have just rotated to the right and
Yeah.
hopefully gotten a better nade on
Yeah, exactly.
supports too.
Now, in hindsight, Bastion ult, but in hindsight, that probably would have kept
yeah.
you alive versus the Bastion ult, right? So, I mean, this is all we need to see here. So, I do think that this
Also-
is... Go ahead.
I also have my nano, so I should have nanoed to live the Bastion ult. In
That's
hindsight.
true. That's true. That's absolutely true, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is one of those moments where we talked about it very early in our review where you kind of just made the first thing you see without really thinking about it. And I think that this is definitely showcases that mistake. Okay. So you don't want to save your nade, but you can use odds and be like, I can do better. I can do better. I can do better. You know, I can wait 2 seconds to find something better or
Yeah,
rotate to a
just
better position.
thinking if I can find a better one in the next couple seconds, might as well go for it.
Nanobade Simulator. What do you think about your positioning?
I think it's pre-fight not amazing, but if they were on fight, on cart, I'd be okay with it.
Well, can I be honest? Pre-fight doesn't matter that much, right? Like, I mean, everyone wants a little bit of that early poke, but the really only thing that matters is when the fight starts, what's your value output? And right now, I think it's going to be massive, right?
Yeah. I was only really thinking about that at the time.
I think it's the most important aspect. Good stuff. Any questions?
Should I mean, since my Genji's clearly doing good, should I be thinking about nanoing anyone else? Unless...
If your Genji is relying off of your nanos and is requesting them, then no. If not, then you nano based off of a need basis or a positional basis. If I go back to the fight where you died to Bastion ult, ignoring the fact that you could have nanoed yourself to keep yourself alive, you could look at this and be like, okay, let's actually go back a little bit further.
covering you. My ultimate is ready.
Nano Cassidy wins you this fight. Nano Genji wins you this fight. You see? Why?
Because they can get a reliable pick pretty quickly with it.
Look at their position. Look at the Bastion, right?
Aggressive.
There is no disengaging for this Bastion. He is dead.
Yeah.
There is no disengaging for anybody here. They're dead, right? Now, maybe if it was the Bastion's further back, right? But there is a committed engagement happening right now. So Nano on anything will either kill something directly or force so many resources that this guy dies anyway. So you Nano aggression from your teammates or the enemy team. But if your Genji has been relying off of Nanos and has done a good job setting up for you, then there's no reason to look for anybody else.
Okay.
I also generally don't wait for Genjis to do it myself. This guy seems pretty communicative and consistent, but if you find that your Genji is not, if he is in aggressive position, just nano him. Just nano him.
Stand up straight.
But honestly, that's not really been a problem this match.
I'm under attack.
Nade? Yes, no? What do you think? We'll start with your
It was
positioning.
rushed.
I'm under attack.
My positioning, I do not like it, honestly.
Okay.
I think if I get hit by something, I'm just stuck without any way to do anything else. Like when
Fix
I get
it.
low health, unless I get healed.
Fix it.
Go into the corridor to the left, or just go to the taxi on the right.
Just pop here, right?
Yeah.
Just pop here. That's it. I don't like the taxi on the right as much because of the proximity problem. If you're walled, you're dead. But yeah. I'm surprised I didn't hit. Oh, he shielded it accidentally.
Oh, that was just perfect timing.
Uh-huh. Why aren't you using your sleep dart?
Because I'm taking a really aggressive position.
Uh-huh.
I kind of fell asleep there, can't lie.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Maximum velocity. I spot a turret.
You know, I went on Stadium yesterday and I built a on a movement speed and dash perk. With hard
Really?
flanking. Yeah, it was really fun.
I honestly can't wait for Stadium. Just, it looks really fun from what I've
It's
seen.
pretty fun. It definitely has its shortcomings, let's put it that way. But there's a lot that you can do, and there's a lot of fresh new experiences. Yes or no? We judge intentions, not outcomes. What do
I
you
think yes.
Why?
They've actually probably no, because the people I'd hit, which is Moira Ram, can just fade away and cleanse it or block.
No, stop right there. What is a nade supposed to do?
Force cooldowns.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Getting out of the choke, forcing cooldowns is exactly why your Ashe, Juno, and Genji and Ramattra have done nothing. Yourself included, actually. Hitting nade here would have forced, let's say, fade. It would have forced ice block. Might have forced wall. And because Ramattra's... By the way, you're pushing up because Ramatra doesn't have Nemesis form anyway, right? So you're actually... This is very reasonable. Yes. Yes. This nade would have
Okay.
been massive. It's you cheating the range, but doing so at an appropriate time. Your team is walking forward. The Ramattra doesn't have cooldowns to punish you. And you're peeking, nading, and then immediately disengaging. See? Smart. Good stuff. You just chunked it. It happens. It happens, you know? No Ramattra, so where do you go with your sleep dart? Aggressive. You missed it, but hey, that's all right. You know you might get pushed, so you back off. You know Ramatra's overextended, so you hit the shots. And he
I missed the one
made
shot.
it. It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
You have basically just chunked your cooldowns. There is no feedback I have to give other than that. And that is a very, very encouraging thought. Good job. But also, shame on you, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Balance saves you, and you miss your sleep dart. So like, once again, we've missed both cooldowns. But we'll be fine. We'll be fine, surely. This is
We're so fine, as you can see.
Look at the space
We
that you got
don't
as a
lose.
result, by the way. Look at you. Oh, no. Oh, no. That was so close to greatness. You know it, too.
No, I
It
know.
was so close to greatness. Margin of error is so tight there.
The Eye of Horus watches over
Good Juno ult. Lots of space off of that. Oh my days. Okay, we're good. Sure. Nice. Pop him. Okay. Good stuff. Felt like a little bit of proactivity here.
We must increase
Let's see you break this choke, and then we'll pause there. Does that work for you?
No recovery.
Sure. If we
Okay.
break the choke,
No,
I
no,
mean,
we definitely do. We definitely do. I
Right,
full
right,
faith in you.
right.
Full faith in you. Okay, you were breaking your rules. So let's see
Yeah.
how you use your cooldowns. There's no diva, which clearly heavily influenced this.
Mm-hmm.
And what the frick was that anti-nade? What's the problem with that anti-nade?
I can't, and like none of my team can do anything off of it.
That's not true. What is an anti-nade for?
Oh, force cooldowns.
Okay, you just went to Las Vegas and then played Monopoly in the hotel room. Okay? You took the most egregious hard flank and then naded the full HP Ramatra.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I mean, anything, this thing
tell you.
would have been better.
My intention was to hit the diva with it, but she boosted away.
But see, you know, the road to hell is paved with good oh, wait, never mind.
Right?
If that's the case, okay, unlucky. Go next. All right, here comes the choke break. These flicker sleep darts, you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Relax. Track, don't flick. Or track, then flick, right? There's too much of this jerkiness. It's not the first time we've seen that either.
I know. It's a big problem I've had with sleep.
It's okay. Everyone has it with sleep dart. Like, literally, almost everyone I've ever coached has that problem, so.
Powered up. Get in
And
And
this
it's
is
fine?
just watch this.
Okay, she's dumb.
Uh-huh.
Wait, let's check average reaction speed.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, she's just dumb. She's just dumb.
Uh-huh.
She's just dumb. You were also dumb. What's
Well,
the
yeah,
problem
and I just went in.
Powered up. Get
here? Right.
I have no cover
What does Nano give you?
space.
Right.
It gives me, yeah.
So you have options here, right? You put yourself here. Not wise.
Uh-huh. I agree.
You have nano boost, which means you could do damage, but you also have a gun, so you know you can shoot things. You don't have to punch things.
Right.
Okay?
enemy turret here.
You don't have to watch that.
That's
Just
okay.
close your eyes real
Still
quick.
better than mine. Nade intention was good. Would have caught her. Sleep dart was still a little flicky. Now, I'm actually a little concerned about the sleep dart usage here. Why?
Because I'm in such a aggressive spot.
Yeah. I understand why you did it, because you're like, he's half HP. If I put him down, then surely we can burst him before he pushes me, but I'm not so sure.
Because
I
of
think
the coal, and I don't have nade.
Yeah. So it's not a bad play. It's just, you know, it is what it is. I do like your proactivity here, and I do like you trying to open space, because it is working. You notice this?
Yeah.
It's making things chaotic, and that's exactly what you want. There just have been details that have not been super pretty.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna finish the VOD review when we break the choke. So here we go. This is
All right. We're gonna break this choke.
one day. You guys have also beefed a lot of your ultimates, which sucks.
Yeah.
You can just use nade here. I would definitely be looking to open up my angle and not doing so here. It's a good nade, bad sleep, and then you get pincer from behind. A lot of problems came here from over-reliance off of proximity and not enough of this.
Right.
You did that once, and you didn't even do it perfectly, and it still worked. Why? Because it's not just flanky, it's also farthy. You know, like, it's not point blank, right? This is
Right.
where you've struggled, is when you didn't have the hubris to take the angle, and then therefore had the hubris to walk into the middle of the enemy team. So when you think about things to work on, what makes the short list here? What needs to be improved?
Just take the better position. Don't walk onto point if I'm trying to open space.
What does that mean?
'Cause I'm on a-
Take in what way are you taking a better position? What things needed to be done better or differently? Be specific. Habits, goals.
Off angle or flank to get a nade, which can force at least, hopefully, 2 cooldowns.
Okay.
And then based off of that, my team should be able to push in while I'm still trying
Okay.
to shoot people and not die.
There's a tendency for over-reliance off of proximity and not enough creativity with how you're opening your angles. There's also a tendency to not track always who or what you're playing versus and how that affects your positioning. There's also reliance on nading occasionally the first thing that you see and not giving yourself a little bit of time to scout or assess the situation to know what to nade.
Right.
And then there's a little, honky tonk going on with your sleep dart. Okay. Other than that, okay. Any questions?
No.